предоставить слово генеральному директору Международной федерации философских обществ и редактору международного журнала «Диоген» Л.Скарантино для того, чтобы презентовать специальные номера международного журнала, подготовленные к сегодняшнему Дню философии.
Dear colleagues, I'm very surprised of this, so I prepared the paper. Actually, I was very happy, the director, Professor Gusenov, when I was asked very lately to present this W issue of Diogène, entirely devoted to contemporary Russian philosophy, and so brilliantly guest edited by our colleague and friend, Professor Marietta Stepanians. The issue was published on the occasion of the 80 years of the Institute of Philosophy of the Russian Academy of Sciences. I thought that I could make a short presentation of it, but I didn't expect Diogenes to be so widely mentioned this morning, so I think that you more or less already know what it's all about. It's about a way to honor the Institute of Philosophy, of course, to honor its impressive history and the role that it has been playing in the international philosophical stage since its inception. But it is also a sign of a growing and widely growing interest toward Russian philosophy on a global scale, toward the background of Russian philosophy, and, as the title of Diogenes says, toward its trends, perspectives, and, of course, toward its actors. Russian scholars are actually more and more present at an international level, and perhaps it is worth mentioning that they were the largest philosophical community represented at the last World Congress of Philosophies. I should probably add that double issues like this one are quite rare in Diogenes' history, and this fact also shows the special importance that we attached to this Russian issue. The fact that it is now presented at this World Day of Philosophy, sponsored by the Institute of Philosophy of the Russian Academy of Sciences at UNESCO, seems to me particularly appropriate and welcome. The set of articles, about 13 articles, were chosen by Marietta Stepanians as a way to give the readers as rich a picture of contemporary Russian philosophy as possible. The first part presents the historical evolution in Russian philosophy and the complexity of this evolution. Papers by Abdusalam Gusainov and Vladislav Lektorsky, by Pyama Gaidenko and by Theodor Oyserman. A second block of papers presents the current developments in different fields of philosophy. Epistemology by Ilya Kasavin, ethics by Ruben Apresian, philosophy of religion by Professor Shokin, history of philosophy, Marietta Stepanians, social philosophy, Boris Kapustin, and postmodernism by Helen Petrovsky. A third group deals with the state of our civilization and its perspectives in the future. Papers by Nelly Motroshilova and Vyacheslav Stepin. Finally, two articles by Tom Rockmore and Eric van der Zwerde represent how Russian philosophy is viewed from the external world. Now, I would like to say very few things that occurred to me during the preparation of this issue. First, you may be aware that philosophy has not only the scope of hosting discussions and debate on one or another scholarly subject. It also aims at creating a network of scholars around such themes. This is why you will find in the last couple of years of the journal, different issues presenting the current trends of philosophical research in China, in Russia, and forthcoming in Japan. We hope that these papers will increase scholarly cooperation with other colleagues, and that they represent a tool to learn about theoretical approaches and patterns developed within the different communities. I personally learned a lot about some main features of Russian philosophy, particularly the strong interaction between historical and formal knowledge, a major issue in contemporary philosophy that Russian philosophers share with another important epistemological tradition in the 20th century, the Italian one. A second aspect that should perhaps be mentioned is that this issue has been published in French, in English, and is to appear in Arabic and in Chinese anthology. Actually, Diogenes appears in 4 languages at each edition, and philosophical speaking, it can be defined as a pluralistic journal. It's also a very good business for the authors. You give us a paper in 1 language and it comes out in 4. Finally, I think it is worth being mentioned how FISP was directly involved in the conception of this volume. The first idea of a special issue of Diogenes came up in one of our meetings, FISP meetings in Croatia in 2007, when Marietta Stepanians mentioned to me that the Institute of Philosophy was planning to celebrate its 18th anniversary this year. And of course, all close cooperation with her and then with other colleagues at the Institute came up through our common membership to FISP CD. This is to me a good example of the role that an organization like FISP may play by raising invisible and yet very effective modes of partnership. As I always try to explain to our colleagues in Paris, intellectual cooperation is not something that can be measured in terms of outcomes. It eventually takes subterranean paths, which nevertheless are an essential device to develop scholarly research and cultural exchange. As UNESCO loves to say, is very good to what they call foster mutual comprehension. Actually, as was repeatedly mentioned today, the ongoing process of economic, social, and cultural globalization cannot be decrypted and understood without a thorough philosophical reflection. In this process, the Russian philosophical community and this institute plays a major role. The Institute of Philosophy, irradiating from its historical address at Volkhonka Street, has such a role to play in the international context. It is a major actor in this globalizing process of cultures. This issue of Diogenes is a part of this process, and its meaning cannot be understood if it's separated from this international and, I would say, historical background. This is probably the main meaning that we try to give it to it. In conclusion, I would like to thank our guest editor, Professor Stepanians, for proposing the idea of an issue, for selecting the contributions, for chasing the contributor throughout the whole preparation process, for taking care of a myriad of technical details, and finally, for forgiving the small technical imperfections of this multiple and plural publication. And I would like also to thank each single contributor to the issue for the effort they made in preparing original papers for this endeavor, for revising them, and finally for accepting them to be published. Thank you.